let's talk about this. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how we all get to say, we told you so once again. Because if one thing's for sure and two things for certain, if Israel don't get their way, they're going to throw a hissy fit. And that hissy fit usually comes in the form of a false flag attempt. And guess who actually caught they ungrateful or caught Israel for the US's ungrateful ass? It was actually Iran. This is exclusive. This is from the Tehran Times, bro. This is from Tehran Times, Mint Press News confirmed it. I mean, I thought it was like, maybe this is just some like random blog. No, this is actually real. Exclusive. Israel planned false flag operation on U.S. soil. The plan involved orchestrating a destructive event within the U.S. and fabricating evidence to implicate Iran, thereby manipulating American public opinion and prompting military action. Iran uncovered the Israeli plot through information shared by a friendly nation. Upon learning of the potential attack, Iranians sent messages to U.S. officials and prevented the planned explosion from occurring. In other words, Iran saved the day yet again. I said Iran saved the day yet again. Bro. I mean, there's so many layers to this, I don't even know where to start. Because what have we been told over and over again lately about Iran's intentions on killing American citizens? Their intentions to assassinate the president? Death to America, right? That's what they keep saying. Oh, you guys wouldn't let a country that screams death to America have a nuclear weapon? One, what do you keep saying that for? They don't have one. But two, like I said before, they don't mean death to America. They really mean death to the American empire, and they mostly mean death to the American government that's trying to overthrow their government. But yet and still, they contact the American government to allow the FBI to do their job. And I want you guys to notice something. Now, this came out on the 25th. I actually, before I went back and looked at I thought that the news had broken today, really. The news broke yesterday. I'm over here thinking that it was today because I had not seen a single announcement, some demand for accountability, some we're investigating to figure out what's going on to get to the bottom of this. You know what I saw instead? No, I'm gonna show you what I saw instead. Which is crazy. Like, in the context of knowing that we just Iran just helped prevent a false flag. This is what I saw instead. Trump kissing Netanyahu's ass on the same day. This is the same day that they find out Israel was planning a false flag operation in the United States and prevented it because it was going to be carried out. Trump calls for Netanyahu to be pardoned and his trial to be canceled. Breaking news. I was shocked to hear that the state of Israel, which has just had one of its greatest moments in history and is strongly led by Bibi Netanyahu. Bro, you just said he's an idiot the other day. Like, not even 24 hours ago. He was at just fucking stupid countries. And now it's pardon Bibi Netanyahu. They're continuing it's ridiculous witch hunt against their great wartime minister, Bibi. And I just went and Bibi and I, bro, you know, it's hard reading Trump's posts because this motherfucker is grammar. It's crazy. I would rather just read slang than read Trump's posts because it's way easier to follow. Bibi and I just went through hell together, fighting a very tough and brilliant long-time enemy of Israel, Iran. And Bibi could not have been sharper or stronger in his love for the incredible Holy Land. You mean the Holy Land that he fled before he set that bitch off? Like, his beloved Holy Land. He said peace too. Oh, by the way, a bunch of Israelis are buying a bunch of land in Cyprus to have an escape plan because they don't believe Israel's safe anymore. Yeah, I give it about a year or two until Cyprus was never the name of Cyprus. It was always called Israel too. Y'all don't remember? It was promised to them. Uh, uh, but anyway, but he goes on to basically talk about this. He's talking about the corruption trials. So it's weird that he actually made this post. Okay. At the same time, the United States finds out that Israel was planning on committing a false flag. It's almost like it was done on purpose. Like it was meant to, in case the news that Israel committed a false flag began to percolate through all of the media, including mainstream media. That was like I got to distract them by talking about a corruption trial that a lot of people didn't know about, but I would say the people who care, they know about it. Israelis definitely know about it because they're out there protesting Netanyahu, not because they're protesting Gaza. Let's not get that confused. But they don't want to be eliminated from the face of the planet, even though they are not Israelis. You would think, they have a pretty well-funded education system, right? And they have access to all the best universities in the world if they really wanted. They usually have the money to connect and the connections to go where they want. And you would think with all that education available to them, they would understand the connection between you and your behavior towards Gaza, behavior towards Syria, Lebanon, Iran. Those are the things that are connected to your potential elimination off the face of the planet. And you're like, nah, it's just Netanyahu in a vacuum. Nah, bro. It's all of those things. And Netanyahu. Stop cheering for the things that Netanyahu is doing, and you might not face elimination. And you're like, I don't get it. How are those things connected? For real. Talk to a Zionist. I've talked to an Israelis like where they really don't understand. Like they're not getting it. I'm being super like serious. They're like, hold on. What do you mean? How are those things connected? I'm like, do you trust Netanyahu? No, we hate Netanyahu. But this issue in Gaza where he like allowed it to happen, right? Like he damn near looked like he planned it. He looked like he was alongside Hamas planning all of this well in advance when you really dig into it, which we don't have to go into here, but you get what I'm saying. And they're like, yeah, but Palestinians are bad. They're trying to, I'm like, no. You can't quote the propaganda that he is using to justify a genocide and then be like, he's a liar and we can't believe anything he says. It doesn't make any sense. There's a reason that for as corrupt as the Israeli government might be, this man is too corrupt for them. They had planned 70 in total. Bro, there are going to be 70 hearings, and this man has managed to keep putting them off through random acts of war. Like literally, just like, we're going to start a war with Lebanon today. We're going to start another war or another front in Syria today. He just bombed Syria like yesterday. Dead ass. And in the middle of the situation with Iran, he bombed Lebanon. And I keep telling everybody, why does he keep doing it? Other than the idea of the Greater Israel Project, we know that they have to get rid of Lebanon, they have to get rid of Iran, they have to get rid of Iraq, they have to get rid of Syria. We know that. Cool. However, he's not bombing Jordan because that's a U.S. ally or puppet, rather. But he's starting these conflicts with countries that he knows probably won't fully engage them. Outside of Iran, that was a little bit risky. But he knows they won't fully engage. However, he can still call it a war. He can still call it a conflict because by Israel's standards, it is a conflict. And he gets to avoid holding an election. And he gets to keep moving the needle on these corruption hearings that will not just expose the crimes that he's committed internationally, but principally the crimes that he committed internally within Israel. How problematic he's been for them. So in the grand scheme, the war with Iran, which we all know who started the war, it was Israel. Yeah, Trump they want regime change in Iran for various reasons, like the U.S. and the West does. However, Israel, and more specifically the Netanyahu, or really Bibi Milikowski, he has his own agenda. But in order to have in order for it to be a long-lasting war, he would have had to have the U.S. get involved, but not just get involved. They would have had to have taken losses. That's why everybody was freaked out whenever the U.S. decided to launch or decided to deploy their fleet to intercept missiles, because there could have easily been a false flag committed against one of those naval vessels. A missile flies and hits one of those naval vessels. There's an explosion randomly. There's not enough people there to prove who was guilty. We know that Mossad is embedded everywhere, and we know that there are branches or people within the U.S. government whose job it is not to tell anybody about Mossad's black ops. And if an American, it just takes one. Iran is even aware of this. They know it takes one American for the U.S. to be in a never-ending war. One. That's all it would have taken. And Netanyahu would have been president, or excuse me, prime minister forever, basically. That because I mean, or at least he passed away. I'm not even joking. Like, because a war between Israel and Iran, that war is not lasting. Like a real, I'm on the ground, we're throwing hands, we're not just launching rockets at each other. Like that type of war, because of everybody that would be involved, that's not a 3, 4, 5 year war. That's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's like, oh, I don't forgot what Netanyahu did. That's what would have happened. He would have been the permanent prime minister. And he was willing to take American lives to ensure that happened. You feel me? He was willing to take American lives to make sure that happened. And y'all remember what's crazy? How on Fox News, they were saying the FBI was already warning that the lack of security at the border was going to allow for Iranian sleeper cells to come into the United States and commit a potential terrorist attack. Remember? And we were all like, yeah, bullshit, false flag incoming. Everybody saw it coming. Everybody. No one believed it, except for, the super Zionists. It's like, whoa, hold up. So you're saying that Iran's going to commit their literal let me just be clear. If Iran somehow managed to commit a terrorist attack in the United States, do you understand that would be the first ever successful Iranian terrorist attack on U.S. soil or against a U.S. entity? Y'all do understand that, right? It would be the first ever. Ever. Like, I can't really, I don't think y'all understand how much beef we've been in we've been in a lot of beef with a lot of countries. The United States has. We call a lot of countries our allies where they have taken lives of American soldiers in the not so recent past, or not so distant past. Hell, Israel, shit, they kill Americans probably once a year at some point. Like, just randomly, on purpose, Hannibal Director stuff, like false flag stuff, like. But I don't know another country where the United States has been in an active beef with them for damn near 70 years. And we can't even say with any level of confidence that the Iranian state sent someone and successfully killed an American. Do y'all understand how crazy that is? Like, that is actually nuts. I mean, especially on Iran's behalf, because I can't believe y'all have shown so much restraint. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. All this talk about proxies, right? I don't count that, because when somebody says, "Oh, Hezbollah, Iranian proxy," you could say that about literally any country, damn near anywhere around the world, or any group about anywhere from anywhere around the world. So, for example, if the U.S. was funding Egypt, that means everything Egypt does, good or bad, you get the credit to the US. And it does not allow for them to be accountable or responsible for their own actions as a self-determined nation. Like, yeah, their support by the US allows us to predict and anticipate their moves politically, but like they're still their own country at the end of the day. If a group that spoke Arabic with an Egyptian dialect committed a crime in the Congo, like they're going to be like, oh man, it was a US proxy. No, they're going to say it was probably Egyptians, and it would be Egypt that would be on the chopping block. They would be who would take the blame. Okay, cool. So fast forward, Hezbollah, who resides in Lebanon, they might receive funding from Iran through in arms. They could even receive arms, but they're not the only ones. Like Hezbollah receives weapons and funding from other groups too, other countries. I assure you, China is probably assisting in that effort. I assure you that Russia probably is assisting in that effort as well. I assure you, obviously, Iran is as well, because it's a matter of national security. It's called bilateral cooperation. But Hezbollah is Hezbollah, and the decisions that they make are Hezbollah's decisions. If they benefit Iran, which they probably do, it isn't because Iran is telling them to do it. It's because Iran is helping them, because they are like, okay, our goals seem to be aligned for the most part. But like, Hezbollah is Iran-backed terrorist organization. No, they're not a terrorist organization. They're actually a political movement that also has a military. And yeah, Iran helps them because they cooperate together, but you can't blame Iran for something Hezbollah does. I mean, you just can't. Like, it's not logical. But it's impressive on Iran's behalf that they're able to coordinate so many different militia groups, because it's necessary for their survival. But it also shows how coordinated they are. But for the countries and militia that the United States soldiers have fought over the years, everyone keeps forgetting that, like, when they're like, oh man, but what about that time Hezbollah killed so-and-so, or this group killed so-and-so, a soldier? I'm like, you mean these groups that are not from the Iranian state that killed the United States in a country that we weren't supposed to be in? We weren't supposed to be there. I mean, I don't like ISIS or Al Qaeda. Don't get it twisted. Like, those are terrorist organizations, and the U.S. intended them to be so. Like, they created them, so that was their goal. But anyone that was killed, any soldier that was killed in Iraq, unfortunately, I hate to say they died in vain, but they died in vain. And I am former military, and I said it when I was in. It used to piss me off. I was like, I don't understand why you're constantly going on patrol. Why are we leaving the FOB? I didn't go. I refused to go. But I'm like, why would y'all leave the FOB? Because when I'm hearing news that somebody died from my unit, and I'm finding out it's because they got hit by an IED while they were on patrol, I'm like, y'all were on patrol for what? We've never been attacked. The FOB, which is like the base that we put up, never was attacked. Why would y'all? So y'all basically leave the fucking base going to look for trouble? Because if we're looking for them, ladies and gentlemen, think about it, just logically speaking, from a military strategy perspective, if we were allegedly in Afghanistan, for example, to go get somebody, went to go get Osama bin Laden, allegedly. Why would we go on patrol at night, knowing that there are improvised explosive devices all over the road that we help create? We know how dangerous they are. Assuming, when I'm talking about patrol, it ain't like they're like 200 meters down the road. They doing like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clicks. Like, bro, man, what are you doing? You're setting yourself up to get attacked by somebody who is never going to come near us because they don't want to be found, you dumbasses. It was almost like they had to doing patrol is smart, but you do patrol in a way that is productive and is not going to put your life in danger, in a way that is commonsensical. but it was almost like we were doing patrols at some points, like based off of whatever. I can only speak from based off of what I know our unit did, but like pretty sure most units do it like this. Like it was almost like we were doing it to have an excuse for somebody to die, for the reports to come back to be like, oh, look at this soldier who died fighting for their country. No, they were doing patrol in a situation that was not necessary to go that far out and put themselves in that particular type of danger. Like you were basically just giving them a moving target. When those people died, when those soldiers died, they didn't understand the terrain. They didn't understand the area. You know why they didn't understand? They didn't know. You know why? Because they weren't supposed to be there. It's not their home. That's it. It's not their home. It's not their oil. There were no weapons of mass destruction. And Osama bin Laden was allegedly found in fucking Pakistan, of all places. So don't even get me started on that. But we can't continue to allow this talking point to float out there that Iranian proxies have killed American. No. Has Iran killed an American? No. Has Iran killed an American politician? No. Has Iran killed an American diplomat? No. And now Iran is even protecting you from yourself because they know that if it was left up to your intelligence community, your FBI, your CIA, and they were privy to an Israeli attack that other people were not privy to, they would just let it happen. They would just let it happen. Am I wrong? Am I right? Or rather, am I right or am I right? Because we all know it's right. Y'all read the JFK files? Well, my man's whose job it was to literally be the barrier between the CIA and Israel, or the Mossad really, and allow Mossad to carry out block ops, or even have the CIA carry out block ops on behalf of the Mossad, even though they didn't know, and he didn't have to tell them, or the president. Come on, y'all. So it was Iran that saved the day. And in the last 24 hours, we have not even seen a fucking thank you. Even though we have been told time and time again in the last 2 weeks that Iran wants to wipe out Americans, and that is a justification for trying to take their nuclear capabilities away. And instead, they are literally warning us in advance that Israel was trying to commit a false flag attack against us. But I'm supposed to believe it's Iran we can't trust. I'm supposed to believe it's Iran who's evil, that they have the evil regime. The same Iran who doesn't want to build a nuclear weapon, not even because, like, not even for the reasons, like, yeah, there are geopolitical reasons. There's definitely some calculations, some game theory there as far as making sure that they don't provoke anybody unnecessarily and not giving them an excuse. However, it's actually religious. That's why they won't, because they don't believe in collateral damage. That's a US concept. Literally, the phrase collateral damage was invented by the CIA. It's not a thing. Killing innocent people, yeah, shit, collateral damage. You mean you just killed a bunch of innocent people? Yeah, but it was necessary because of whatever operation we had to commit, and therefore it's called collateral damage. That just seems like negligence. That seems like criminal negligence. Actually, I feel like there's a phrase for that. No, because the U.S. government did it. Therefore, it's collateral damage. I will say, since they won't, first of all, thank you, Iran. I appreciate it. I'm sure that Americans appreciate it because we all knew, right? Did we not get on this show and talk about this? Did me and David and Nick not talk about this when we did our show the other day? There have been Fiorella and Paz. I know they talked about. I know a lot. George Galloway even talked. Bro, all of George doesn't even live in the U.S., but he knows how to. Being Scottish, he knows how Israel operates. Hell, Israel committed a false flag against Englishmen. back in the day. So everybody knew. Everyone knew. And one could make an argument, because I know that allegedly so far, there has been like this tacit agreement to a ceasefire. Iran has agreed to it. However, the thing that people once again have not really processed the fact that Netanyahu hasn't agreed to shit. He said that they've achieved their objective. I don't know what the fuck that objective was, because you said it was to destroy Iran's nuclear weapons that they didn't have, so that was an impossible objective to achieve. Allegedly, the nuclear sites that the United States supposedly just absolutely obliterated, that was a lie, false intelligence, or propaganda, probably the latter, or a little bit of both. And by the way, I 100%. Y'all couldn't. I want people to understand, like, there were bombs dropped on a whole television studio in Iran, and they were able to continue. They had to go off air for a little bit, and they were so reinforced. Their buildings were so reinforced that they were able to continue their television program after. It's not like Iran is stupid. They understand who they're dealing with. So, do I believe that their buildings were attacked? Yeah. Are they in bad shape? Most certainly. Is their nuclear program destroyed? No. I don't believe that. Especially if Tehran isn't coming out and saying, like, oh man, look, they condemn the attacks, but that is not, if it was as bad as they say it was, if the destruction that had been done by the US was as bad as the US is claiming it was, Iran would not have stopped. They wouldn't have agreed to a ceasefire. There is something that happened between the three where Iran's like, yeah, I mean, shit, we good. Like, if y'all ready to actually stop, but don't get it twisted, we can still pop off on Israel whenever we feel like it. So don't forget. But if they actually had committed as much damage as they claim to have committed, I don't believe it would have stopped. That's why Rubio is making the rounds right now, trying to attack this intelligence leak. I'm like, hold on, y'all, you calling this an intelligence leak? As if it's an intelligence leak, you're confirming the intelligence. Just right? Does that make sense? If it was a lie, I wouldn't even refer to it as a leak. I would just call it, oh, it's just a lie being put out by the media. It's a lie being put out by some analysts. It's a lie being put out by somebody that's seeking attention. But, I can confirm, the DNI confirmed that we did, but no. He's like, the person who leaked this betrayed the country. Hold on, why are you so upset about something that isn't true? Because in my experience, so they get upset the most whenever a leak is the truth. Right? And that goes, the same rings true for both the Democrats and the Republicans. That's both of them. A leak that doesn't really mean anything, like, you're like, yeah, whatever. It's bullshit. In fact, Rubio specifically, whenever there was a leak that the Chinese, that Xi Jinping, or either Xi Jinping or their foreign minister had made some kind of rude comment towards Marco Rubio, the media had tried to convince him that had happened, and he said, "No, I don't believe that. That's not true. That's not the vibe I got from him. That's not. No one translated that. No one. That was not how I left the feeling the conversation went, and I'm not going to allow them to try and convince me otherwise." Because he knew it was not true. He knew that somebody was trying to goad him. In this situation, he's like, whoever leaked that intelligence is a traitor to the nation. For real, hold on, let me see if I can find that clip. Just real quick. Because his reaction to it is just like in my opinion, it's over the top. Where is it at? One second, I forgot to put it in my file, so I gotta find it. But I was like, yo, why is he acting like that? If it's not true, then why are you going over the top to? Oh, that's one. Oh, I found the other clip, but I don't think I found. Give me a second.
Makes a decision. His instincts are uncanny, and we have to appreciate
that.
that. That's one of the things.
Oh, that's that creepy ass comment. You know, Marco Rubio said Trump instincts are uncanny. When he says this, this is the direction that I want to go, our job is not to spend the whole day trying to change his mind. Our job is to execute the president's vision based on really uncanny instincts. The person was like, yeah, this is a cult, because that's like, your job is to advise the president against, like, your job is to present all options, explain the pros and cons of everything, that every decision that he makes, whether even when you agree with the decision, you're supposed to, a good advisor has to advise, like, yo, okay, this could go wrong. You should be aware. You should plan for it. He's like, nah, man, we should just agree with everything he says and execute it. Yeah, it's like cold. Like, I don't know what's happened in the last couple of months, but there has definitely, in my opinion, been a weird like transition where his administration seems to be afraid of him to some degree. I don't know how to explain it. But there's a different vibe in his administration now compared to where they were at in the beginning, where they were willing to push back a little bit more. I really cannot find this damn clip. I just saw it. Sorry, everybody. Can't find it, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Am my spider senses, are my spider senses off? Or am I like remembering correctly? Because there was a little bit more pushback against Trump in the beginning. And it's like recently, everyone, like, even that Tulsi situation was weird. It was like she was scared of the man. I'm like, girl, you sound like a punk right now. You just got punked by Trump. He didn't even talk to you directly. JD Vance is like, how do you feel about the war with Iran? Please don't ask me. What's the line? Israel has a right to defend itself, I think, in something about nuclear, whatever he says. Yeah, just whatever. Trump, don't beat me when you, like, don't beat me, please. Don't take your belt off. I don't know. It's just weird. Isn't Rubio the same thing? Rubio's the same thing as a Denny's? Is there a Rubio's? Is that a thing? I've never heard of it. Are you being serious? Because I would never eat there. It'd be like basically Taco Bell for Cuban food, wouldn't it? fake Cuban, making fake Cuban food, like fake. You can't even call Taco Bell Tex-Mex. I don't know what the hell you call it, but I eat it more than I should. I'll tell you that. So, yeah. To close on that point, I just find it interesting because this news is, once again, no one's denying the news. Nobody in the U.S., Israel, and obviously Iran, who broke the news, no one is denying that this is true. Like, no one's denying the intelligence about the false flag was received by Iran, passed to the U.S., and that the U.S. stopped the attack from happening. No one's denying it. Do y'all understand? That is significant, because if it was untrue, then Israel would probably come out and deny it, at least. And the United States would definitely come out and deny it, especially given that all eyes are on all three nations. And this ceasefire is a sensitive subject, and everybody knows it could break at any moment. And hell, some people are arguing that it's already been broken. And once again, Bibi never agreed to it. So that's kind of important to mention. People keep saying that Israel has agreed to the ceasefire, and I feel like it's important to just restate. He said we achieved our goals. That's what Bibi Milikowski said. He did not say we agreed to a ceasefire. Iran said that. They said if they're not provoked or attacked anymore, they will stop. Trump obviously said that. However, Bibi Netanyahu has not said he agrees to a ceasefire. He says we achieved our objectives. Does that mean that he's not going to continue to seek to achieve more objectives? No. Does it mean he agreed to a ceasefire? No. And also, right now, we don't know when this false flag attack was supposed to happen because it was foiled. But for all we know, the reason he didn't agree to a ceasefire was specifically because he was expecting this false flag to be pulled off. And it didn't go the way he planned. So now it's really a matter of playing the waiting game. For those of you who are curious, I don't believe that this war is over. There are some people who believe that it's over, and I do not. I believe that there is a ceasefire, but that is all that it is. It is a ceasefire, and that's it. Because look at that weird ass tweet from Trump. We're finding out that Israel was planning a false flag, and knowing, once again, everybody, I mean, this is Israel. They have backup plans on top of backup plans on top of backup plans. I'm sure that, hell, I'm not confident that's people are like, false flag incoming, and then a fucking church was shot up. Right? So usually in situations like that, whenever one, like there's a shooting that happens, another shooting that happens in like a bombing. And maybe the first two don't involve a Muslim, but the last one does. It's like Christian on, or like white on white, white on black, or something to that extent, or black on Christian, or whatever, and then a Muslim out of nowhere. And then we find out the FBI always knew about him, and Iran connection, Muslim Brotherhood, whatever. That's usually how it goes. So I wouldn't expect that last shooting that happened this week to be the last one. And it probably wasn't going to be. And I don't expect for Israel to desist. I believe that they're going to continue.